Hey guys, what's going on? In today's video I'm going to tell you or show you how to get a good finish on car parts, or to be fair, get a good finish on anything with rattle cans. And I'm not even using expensive stuff. Primer $5.99, and to be fair I probably won't even use all of that on this wing. The paint that I'm using is, to be fair, really good quality for rattle can. I don't actually have it yet. And then I'm going to be using some cheap clear coat as well. Obviously, if you have the opportunity or have the option paint with a gun, I would always say paint with a gun, because, well, from spraying this and spraying parts on this, spraying with a can isn't ideal. Can get a good finish with it, and if you've seen any of my previous videos where I've shown parts that I have painted, I can get a good finish with a rattle can, but still I would prefer to use a gun. So this is how it is at the minute. You can see it's like a nice flat black colour. There is obviously a lot of places where I've gone through onto metal, but I've been using a dual action sander. Obviously it's not perfectly even. You will never ever get it perfectly even, and a lot of people like to hand sand these. I personally just can't be arsed, but this bit is down here, what I've still got that bit of a shine to them. Just a couple of quick tips for laying primer. Make sure you get full coverage and always do the edges first. I know it might sound a bit daft, but when you do the edges first, you get dry spots down here. Obviously, if you do the edges afterwards, you'll get dry spots on top of the primer, which you don't want. So if you do down the edges and round first, the dry spots will land in the middle, and then when you go over it, it will lay flat, and, well, lay as flat as it possibly can. And make sure you always overlap your coat. Also, one of these spray guns, they help a lot. For me, who was like, oh no, it's a bit stupid, you know, if you use one of them cap spray gun things, you just shit at painting. I've actually realised that they're quite good because you get more consistent pressure when it comes to spraying. This is straight after the second coat of primer. You can see there's a lot better coverage on it. There's no black spots on it. And I don't know if I mentioned this already, when you're going around the edges you only need to do it once, because you can lay it on fairly thick because it's going on the inside. Obviously you don't see it. You can see though there is no runs on the inside of this. Well, go around the edges once and you can lay it on quite thick, and then you get the kind of fade on this side, and then you go over it properly. I'll probably leave this about another 10-15 minutes and then come back over with a third coat. Third coat of primer done. You can see, while it's wet, it is a little bit stripy. It will dry out quite even, and there is a couple of little bits in it, but there's no runs in it. It laid on really nicely, and quite heavy, to be fair. I did expect to run over here because I did get a bit too close, but the only part I haven't I managed to get primer up here, but it didn't spray the greatest. So tomorrow I'm going to come out when it's not as windy and just put a bit of primer over this area so it is all even. But for the priming stage, that's it, it's done. Day 2, clear coat, primer, no, base coat, clear coat, coke, 600 grit. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go over the wing, what is all the way over there, with some 600 grit. I know some people think 600 is a bit high, but I want a smooth base coat. And to be fair, anything I've ever painted, I've gone 320, 600 after primer, and then base and clear. I was going to do colour coat sand, but to be fair, I think I'm only just going to get enough coverage with one can. and I don't really want to go and buy another, and I don't want to risk sanding through it, so I'm just going to lay it on quite heavy. I might even do 2 coats of base coat, but slightly heavier. First layer of base coat done. As you can see, I went on not quite heavy, I went on quite light, and I was moving at a fairly steady speed. You can see up here is mainly where it's patchy, to be fair, but the best way to tell if it's ready for the next coat is if you can touch it, not put too much pressure on it, but you can feel a little bit of stick. That's when you're ready for the next coat, and it doesn't really leave a mark, it kind of just sets in place. Okay, so this is the third coat. Obviously you can see it's starting to get a lot more shine to it now, starting to get a better finish. I don't think you can really tell on camera, but it's still not at that really high gloss finish that you wanted. So, and I've still got a fair bit left. Up here, it's gone on really nice, like there's a lot of orange peel in it. The next coat, it is just going to be like the wet coat, where you absolutely drench it. I was going to do it on this coat, but I didn't think it was tacky enough, and I didn't think it was going to lay as well as it did, so I was being a little bit skeptical, but now I'm going to go at it in full force. I laid it on really thick, and you can still see, still kind of got that satin finish to it, but the reflection is a lot higher, and there is a lot of orange peel. You will always get that from a Rattle can unless it's 2K, which that isn't. So what I'm going to do, leave it again for about 10-15 minutes, and then come at it with some clear coat. And like I said before, I'm only using cheap clear coat, but it does the job. Primer is really goddamn thin, so you need to lay it on quite thick and not get runs, and if you do get runs, you can sand them out very easily. Base coat is really thick, that's why you see it does get really good coverage. Even when I did 1 coat, it got good coverage. And clear coat is really thin again. When I did the spoiler for my Astra, I got a clear coat run, and you can wet sand it out in a day, like after it's dried. But like I said, what I'll be doing with this, I'll be leaving it for a day or so and then wet sanding and polishing it. Obviously it's all dependent on how the clear coat dries, but now I'm going to go at it thin layer, slightly heavier layer, moving slowly, and then thick layer. And I'm probably going to do a couple of thick layers. I've got a few spare cans of clear coat, so you know, the more the better, because the more you can polish it back and get a good shine to it. First layer of clear coat done, and you can see in the reflection there is a reflection now. It's not perfect, and you probably saw it in that clip, and I'm going to leave it in. Caught the corner. It's still black, but it's a little bit chipped, and you can repair it. I'm not going to, because as much as this isn't for me, it's still for someone close relative, and they'll probably never know. So one thing I forgot to mention about the clear coat is the harder you lay it on, or the thicker you lay it on, the longer it's going to take to dry. And I know it sounds pretty obvious, but with the base coat you can lay it on really thick and it'll dry in roughly the same amount of time, because all the solvent comes to the top. With clear coat there's a lot more solvents in it. I think it's solvents anyway. So basically if I laid it on really thick, or if I laid it on like this and didn't leave it 10 minutes to dry, say I left it like 2 and then whacked another coat on, I'd start having issues with how long it takes. And I learned this the hard way. I was doing a paddle for the ZR and I laid the clear coat on thick, kept laying it on thick and thick and thick, and I was waiting almost a week for it to dry before I could polish it. Reflection, it's getting a lot better. I can see my hand in it now. Obviously I'm not going to touch it because it's still a little bit wet. It's going tacky. There's a little bit of stuff stuck here, but you can really, well, when the sun shines you can really see the colour starting to pop. Okay, so with the flash on you can see it a lot better. You can see all, there we go. Look at that, it is beautiful. And if you can get a can like that, and if you can get a finish like that with a Rattle can, you're clearly doing something right, because, well, it's a goddamn beautiful colour. Alright, so it's been left to dry for about an hour so far, and this is the finish that I've got. this is without polishing. I've just gone and picked up some, I think G3 or G4 polish. You see in areas like there, it's landed a bit dry. It's come out a lot better than I thought it would. At the minute, it's sat in my house drying. Come out a lot better than I thought it would. Like I said, there is the dry spots, but in general, without a polish, I'm quite happy with this. And it's got bits of dust and God knows what else on it, so I'm still going to polish it, but I'm really happy with that. So if you guys have enjoyed this video, like and subscribe down below as you always do, and I'll see you guys in the next bloody video.